This is Daily Armenia, ΣιβιλNet's daily news digest. Here's what's making headlines in Armenia today. Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan has proposed that Armenia and Azerbaijan sign a normalization treaty and simultaneously request the formal dissolution of the OSCE Minsk Group. Speaking to Armenia's parliament today, he described the move as a symbolic but necessary step. If we are indeed closing the page on the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, and we are, then why maintain a format that was created to resolve it? Pashinyan said, referencing the Minsk Group. He emphasized that the group's legacy should not be used to justify future territorial claims. The proposed normalization treaty, finalized last month, includes mutual recognition of borders, a commitment to avoid the use of force, the reopening of regional transit routes, and the withdrawal of all legal claims tied to past conflicts. It would also establish formal diplomatic relations between the two nations. The Minsk Group, created in the 1990s and co-chaired by France, Russia, and the United States, played a central role in negotiating the conflict for nearly 30 years. But its relevance faded after the 2020 war and Azerbaijan's 2023 military operation, which led to its full control over Nagorno-Karabakh and the forced displacement of its Armenian population. While both Yerevan and Baku now consider the Minsk Group obsolete, a key point of friction remains: Azerbaijan's demand that Armenia revise its constitution. Pashinyan has expressed openness to drafting a new constitution, but acknowledged that the process would be lengthy and require a national referendum. Hungary has blocked a €10 million EU assistance package for Armenia for 6 straight weeks, according to Radio Free Europe. The aid, proposed by EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas, would come from the European Peace Facility and aims to boost Armenia's non-lethal defense capabilities. The package, submitted to the European Council last month, marks the EU's second military support initiative for Armenia. The first, approved last July, also provided €10 million, focusing on logistical support. Hungary also repeatedly vetoed that first package until the EU agreed to allocate an identical amount of aid to Azerbaijan. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban's government maintains close ties with both Azerbaijan and Turkey and is seen as a Eurosceptic force within the EU. Orban's decision in 2012 to extradite Azerbaijani murderer Ramil Safarov, who had killed Armenian army officer Gurgen Margaryan in his sleep while they were participating in a NATO-sponsored training seminar in Budapest in 2004, resulted in Armenia cutting off diplomatic relations for many years. While efforts have been made to repair those ties, with relations restored in 2022 and embassies scheduled to open in Yerevan and Budapest later this year, the vetoes demonstrate that Hungary continues to support Azerbaijan at Armenia's expense. The European Peace Facility, launched in 2021, allows the EU to provide military and defense-related support, including equipment and training, to partner nations facing security challenges. Former Armenian President Serzh Sargsyan delivered a speech at the Republican Party of Armenia's anniversary meeting today, sharply criticizing the current government over the fall of Artsakh, Azerbaijani advances into Armenian territory, and what he described as broader national failures. They promised peace, we got war. They promised prosperity, we got emigration. They promised to protect Artsakh, they surrendered Artsakh, he said. Sargsyan outlined 3 key priorities for his party if it returns to power: fostering national unity as a matter of security, rebuilding the armed forces to meet modern challenges, and strengthening Armenia's diplomatic corps to restore international partnerships. He stressed that national reconciliation would not mean amnesty for what he called the unforgivable crimes of the current leadership, particularly in matters of defense. On the normalization process with Azerbaijan, Sargsyan claimed it is being misrepresented to the public and dictated by Baku, and insisted that the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict is not yet resolved. Sargsyan, who lost power in 2018 following mass protests, now leads the Republican Party in opposition, positioning it as a force seeking to return to government. This Week in Business is СивиЛНет's weekly review of Armenia's business headlines. This week, we tell you about the reported progress in Armenia's plans to expand Zvartnots International Airport, the resurrection of a joint Armenian Emirates investment to build a major solar power plant, and the Eurasian Economic Union's intention to launch an integrated electricity market at the beginning of 2027. You can find a link to the broadcast in this video's description. And finally, the СивиЛНet number of the day is 22. That's the number of SUVs that have been purchased to create Armenia's new Eco Patrol service, which is tasked with the conservation and protection of Armenia's state forests. The force has begun in the country's southern Sunik region and intends to later expand throughout the country. And as always, keep following СивиЛNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.